now your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye and Freddie Prinze Jr.
All right, Jeff. First off, how was your week, sir? Did you have good shows? Did you get in any fights? Did you throw out any first pitches? Did you meet any nice ladies? Tell us about your week.
No fights, no first pitches, but I did go to a lot of baseball. Went to the Brewers game. I went to the Field of Dreams, which I do every time I'm driving through Iowa. Then I went to the Cubbies game. So a lot of baseball this week, which was awesome. I've had some great shows in Batavia. I had some great shows in Rockford, Illinois. Shout out to the Comedy Cabin in Janesville, Iowa. I was all over Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois. Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great week.
And then you're going home this weekend, right? You're performing back in the Seattle area or what?
Yes, Tacoma, Washington.
Yes,
I'm coming
sir.
back. I'm very excited. And I've had people come after the shows go, I love Wrestling with Freddie. I love Freddie Prinze Jr. And so I'm like excited to be like, yes, a fellow wrestling fan. So if you do come to the shows or if you want to come to the shows, come say what's up to me. Tell me you're a listener of the podcast.
Jeff's a huge baseball nerd. Jeff's a huge wrestling nerd. Jeff's a huge video game nerd. Jeff's a huge comedy nerd. See, everybody's a nerd. They just have their own thing, you guys. But Jeff's probably a bigger nerd than any of you. A lot of stuff happened in wrestling. I'm just kidding. Jeff's really cool. Way cooler than
my
most
mind
of
is
you.
like, I don't know.
Nah, stand-up comedy's cool. So, first off, some sad news, bro. R-Truth is no longer a part of the WWE. Ron Killings, as he's also known, he came back. He was in the WWE for a little while before I worked there, and then he went to TNA. And then in 2007, 2008, that time frame was right when I joined WWE, and he came just a few months after I did. And Truth and I always got along great. He got along great with everybody there. The way he was on camera, that character that he played was so perfect and money. They just played him kind of punchy, and the punchiness just got worse and worse and worse as he got older. And I thought they got away with a lot there, and he had a lot of fun. This man smoked a cigarette in an arena during a match. This man legit asked for water during a match and got it, like when he was in that gauntlet match back in the day. Like, he's done so many cool, interesting, and funny ass things in wrestling. That's how I like to remember him. Jeff, anything you want to say about Mr. Truth?
Oh, I could do a whole episode about Ron Killings, R-Truth, big R-Truth fan. So I always tell my friends, my inner circle of friends knows this about me, is like, if you ever hear me say Razor Ramon's my favorite, or I love, the big giant guys, or anytime you say me, hear me say, oh, Penta's my favorite. I ask my friends to correct me and go, no, he's your second favorite because you like R-Truth. R-Truth is the funniest wrestler ever in the history of wrestling. His comedic sensibilities are so much better than anyone who's ever been in wrestling. He was able to make wrestlers who are unable to break. He's broke Undertaker. He's broke Brock Lesnar. He's so good. He broke Solo Sikoa just last week, which was so funny when he's saying to Jeff Cobb, or who's now called JC
Mateo.
Yeah. He broke him and being like, man, you husky. And the way he did, it's week to week. The dude is a comedic genius, which is why the release is so shocking to me. Because you don't need him to be like in tip top shape and you could put him anywhere and it's so funny. I don't know why you release him. I will say I don't want to get too dramatic and give him some eulogy like he's dying. He's just been released from WWE. So hopefully they'll find a way to incorporate him in some other way. Or, 1 year from now, he'll make a big surprise appearance at the Royal Rumble or something. Something along those lines is what I'm hoping. But I'm very, very shocked to see that he's not, or that he was released. I was just as surprised as everyone else.
In other news, Ricochet, King Ricochet, as I don't remember what Briscoe called him, but he said something funny about him being bald. He hit us up on Instagram and gave us some love, it was bittersweet love. He kind of came at me a little bit. He said, we're not cool. So that hurts. And it cut. Yeah, it cut. I bleed. I really like what he's doing still, even though I'm bleeding on the inside. And a Karate Man bruise on the inside. But yeah, so Ricochet gave us some love. When athletes tell you they don't pay attention to the news, they're lying to you. Ricochet didn't lie. He was straight up. He was like, yo, I listen. I heard. You better watch it. He didn't say it like that. He was pretty cool.
He's the best, dude. I love him. I think he's so underused, so underrated. Time's ticking, wrestling. Start giving this guy his flowers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, even guys like flowers sometimes. I don't want flowers, but some guys do. And last but not least, Mr. Jeff Dye called it. And all of you who listen and love Jeff, and all of you who listen who hate Jeff are about to be real happy and sad right now, because he looks like he got it right with Mariah May, and she is absolutely making her way to the WWE. You know, with what they were able to do with Jade Cargill from having no wrestling experience to where she's at now, and the way they've protected her and kind of showcased her and limited, you know, what she could do early on so that it was more Bianca Belair doing the work. Imagine what they're going to do with Mariah friggin' May, who learned to wrestle in Japan, has tons of experience, has some solid-ass matches, and a great story that she did with Toni Storm. Well, that might be the only memorable women's wrestling story in AEW in the last, 2 years, man. And she was a part of that. I think they're going to absolutely crush it with her. She can talk. She can wrestle. She has a great look. She's going to crush it there. And you got it right, Jeff. How does it feel to be right so often?
Well, I'm not right very often, so that's why
I'm trying to put you over,
good.
dude.
That's why I feel real good to be right about this. I just think everyone should be really happy about this. She's a great wrestler. We were very impressed with her. I wasn't super familiar with her as far as, you know, it's hard to watch all the product. It's a lot of wrestling in a week. And some of the people have criticized me on that in the comments and things. And I apologize. It's just a lot of wrestling to watch. So it's hard to always keep up with everything. But once we had her on the podcast, I kept a close eye on her because remember, she was so good at playing. She was in shtick. She
blurred the line. She was very effective at blurring the line.
Impressive. Yeah. And I was I'm week to week, I'm always giving MJF credit for those kind of wrestling sensibilities. And she was dialed in. When we have Swerve on as a podcast guest, we got more of Swerve the man than Swerve the wrestler. Sure. Whereas with Mariah May, it was hard to tell. And I was like, it was very fascinating. So I've kept an eye on her since then. And dude, I think sky's the limit for this chick. And she's got age on her side. That's another thing. She's young. Yeah. But she's got a great look. She's got the sensibility. She behaves kind of like a veteran. I'm very, very impressed.
It's time to talk about the week in wrestling. It's the story of Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, fabulously dressed Seth Rollins. Sorry, I should have said that first. Braun Breaker, suited up, always looking sharp. And big-ass Bronson Reed. I think that should be his name. Big-ass Bronson Reed. Jeff's favorite. Oh, wait, no, R-Truth's your favorite. Jeff's second favorite.
There you go.
A lot of people, I think, were surprised because this was the dude that tried to kill Seth Rollins just a few months ago and hit him with 800 tsunamis in the ring, and Seth Rollins was out for a few weeks. But now they're bros, and they're in this together. Seth bounced back from all those tsunamis and is on top of the world almost. He needs something, Jeff. He needs the gold. Nobody deserves it more than him. Jey Uso can't handle the pressure. That's what Paul Heyman said. You can't handle this kind of pressure. You can't be a nice guy and be this sweet boy and have a target at the same time. You can't deal with that. But you know who can? Seth fabulously dressed Rollins. He comes out there for joining up with this group. Rollins talks about dominating the WWE, and to do that, he has to have the gold because whoever has the gold kind of controls the WWE, right? So he vows to win Money in the Bank in the main event that night. He makes a promise, and I've talked about this a million times on this podcast. When a wrestler makes a promise in a promo and they don't keep it, it's real freaking hard to get over, unless you're already over. Seth Rollins is already over, and spoiler, he wins. He kept the promise. That's how friggin' hard a push this dude's getting. We'll get into our picks for Money in the Bank on Thursday, but the men's Money in the Bank to me is going to be the easiest one in the world to pick. Maybe not for you guys, but if you want to make a couple bucks, tune in Thursday. Jeff, How do you like this new faction? Does it feel like any other factions you've seen before? Is it unique? Is it new to you? I guess everything's inspired by something. And then a lot of people, I guess, and I'd rather get your take on this because you are on the mic. That's your job, is literally to be on the mic. Do you like Rollins more with Heyman, or do you want him to be a solo act, like a stand-up comedian's out there, like doing his own thing?
I think no one's worse with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman can make anybody pop. Like, he's so good on the microphone. But I also think that, like, Seth Rollins doesn't really need him. Although this is nice, and I like the way this story is unfolding. I think it's great. I think we're somewhat wasting Paul Heyman. I've said it before on this podcast, like, put Paul Heyman with the guy who needs him. Put Paul Heyman with the women's division. Put Paul Heyman with, somebody who has those abilities but doesn't have the mic abilities, is what I would do if I was, running things. But I love this faction. It feels good. It doesn't remind me of anything specifically, which is really, it can remind me of a lot of things loosely. That's good. Yeah, but it doesn't remind me of anything like where I'm like, they're copying this, or this is too similar to whatever. I really like what it's going. I also like the idea that it could grow. Like, week to week, we could just see a member added or not. And because it's unpredictable. I would never thought Bronson Reed was going to join. Like, that just came kind of out of nowhere. I also, when they added Braun Breaker, I was like, what? Like, now he's with them? Like, I kind of thought it was just Seth taking over as solo whatever, but to make a stable is very Vince McMahon, by the way, making this stable.
Vince McMahon. When I worked there, hated that. He was done with it. He's like, oh God, another faction. And we could never get those ideas. Really? It was so hard to get Straight Edge Society over. My buddy created that co-created that whole thing. And obviously Punk had a lot to do with it. But yeah, just to get that over, it was like pulling friggin' teeth, multiple teeth, jagged teeth.
Well, I love what they're doing. I literally think it's probably my favorite thing that's happening in wrestling right now, or one of. And so I love it. I think it's great. But I would use Heyman in a different way. But I think this is going to be a big chapter. I think he might be there for a while.
Well, I think you may have solved your own problem when you said this could get bigger and bigger and bigger. He could speak for all those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bronson Reed's okay on the mic. I've never seen him be bad. I've seen him be cool. I've seen him be badass, and they're always, like right down the middle, right? Paul Heyman can help develop that. Braun Breaker, I think, is right. They're probably about the same. Sometimes Breaker has a better one, sometimes no, but either way, Heyman could help both those guys develop as they watch him work, and they steal some of the little things he does here and there, and they turn it into their own. And then when they regurgitate it back up, it becomes something cool and special. So he could already be doing that. It's just too early to see.
Well, Seth is really, really good on the mic, is what I want to point out. Like, Seth is very good. So he doesn't necessarily need anybody. I will say maybe Paul Heyman's just collecting wrestlers who have the sound, because Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed.
I wonder. I have to rewatch now, damn it, because I don't think he's done that yet, and I wonder if he would only save that and only use that for Brock out of respect. I'll bet you he never does it for either of those dudes. I don't know. I'm going to pay. Cool, though. You guys have to pay attention. If you catch it, hit us up on our social media or write us in a review if you guys want to do a review on the show, and let me know in case I miss it or if Jeff misses it. But I'm going to keep my eyes open for that, because that would be. I wonder. He's so old school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He
really follows all the old guy rules that I love.
Yeah.
Actually, he follows old guy rules that I don't love. Like, he is so by the old school style. Sure. Like, he's the kind of guy, like, if a celebrity would have came into things, they would have beat up the celebrity to to kind of, what's that term? Like, initiate him. Like, he's old school.
He could earn his stripes the old way. Yeah. So we're going to have some Money in the Bank matches up here, and we're going to be predicting them again on Thursday, so make sure you guys tune in for that. We had a Jey Uso, the champ, versus Gunther promo. Not a match, a promo. And I'm worried, Jeff. I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. A promise was made, and I don't know if this promise is going to be able to be kept. Because at the end of Jey's promo, and I really like Jey's work, man, he says, yo, I'm going to make you tap out again. And I went, oh, shit. Because I think Gunther's due. And I think a broken promise hurts a character, right? It weakens a character's stance. The next time they make a promise, it's like, well, how'd the last one work out for you? But I might cheer for this other guy. Now that's old school, right? But that's kind of how I was taught when I was there by Freebird, and Arn Anderson used to say that a lot to me. He's like, don't break a promise you make in a promo, kid. And I was like, all right, cool. Cause I had this guy with this awesome monologue that I wrote him. They call them promos, but I called them monologues. And the guy was losing, and Arn was like, I'm not trying to tell you how to write, but, and he gave me this note, and that was the note. And I was like, holy shit. And he was like, yeah, think long-term with this kid. Don't break his character before he makes himself. And I was just like, yo, that's so fucking smart. So we changed the promo. The talent wasn't happy because it was a cool promo. But then I kind of broke down what Arn said, and he was a little too young to quite get it, but he was cool with it and still went and did the promo. But yeah, man, that was like, I don't like seeing promises get made that might not be able to get kept because of that. And I'm worried about my guy, Jay. Again, we'll make this pick on Thursday, but I'm nervous, Jeff. How are you feeling about the whole situation?
Like I said many a time, is that I'm not really sure why we're still doing Gunther, but I'm here for it. I'm listening. I think Gunther's a bigger star than Jey Uso, in my opinion. Like,
I think you're crazy talk. That's crazy talk.
No one agrees with me, but I'm just still waiting for me to go, oh, I get why they're doing with Jey Uso. I don't like Jey Uso always has a face like you make right before you get out of the steam room. You know, if you're in a sauna or something, and like the steam is like hurting your face, and you keep going like
he's
this.
He's in pain. Like he's feeling the pressure. He's expressing that physically.
Yeah, it's very strange facial expressions. Very steamy. I'm excited to see what they do, and I welcome the challenge of making me care about Jay and Gunther again.
All right, sir.
I mean, Jay promised to tap him out. We'll see. You know,
I'm nervous. All right, it's time for SmackDown, Jeff. And Bianca Belair is back. And she has gotten so damn good on the microphone over the last 2 years. It's frightening. I'll give maybe the one caveat is she was at home. Her mom and dad were there. It's where she grew up. The crowd went bananas for her. She even played like their college. I didn't go to college, so I don't know about their songs, but they even sang their college song. We were broke, man. I had bad grades. College was not in my future. So she went out there and she came out with so much heart. And I even texted you guys. I was like, yo, man, she's coming off like $1 million right now. The crowd's going crazy. And I think the TV audience could find her really relatable. And then here comes Naomi. And she fucking crushes it and is shedding tears in there, and then is getting maniacal. She's willing to commit felonies and break and enter into people's homes and go through their personal shit, which was super creepy. And I thought she pulled it off great. And then Bianca, I think, dropped the F-bomb off mic and was like, yo, are you out of your fucking mind? I think she cut that on her. That's what it looked like when I was reading lips. This whole segment was sick. And Naomi hits her at the end. She goes, yo, I wouldn't want you to have to be in a wheelchair next to your mamas. And I was just like,
so good.
Yo, dude, this is great shit. They kicked ass. Jade Cargill came out. Jade, if you're not watching wrestling and you just listen because for whatever reason, she's awesome and is like super friggin' jacked, and she hates Naomi. And so she comes out and she's going to beat Naomi's ass, throws her out of the ring. Nia Jax comes out. They all have this triple threat match to see who's going to be in Money in the Bank. And Naomi freaking comes out and wins. And we'll get to that on the Thursday show. Jeff, I thought this shit was awesome. And I thought both girls looked fantastic in this promo. I thought they both got over huge. I like the physicality with Jade. You got to be on this Naomi boat right now, right?
Oh yeah, Naomi is doing her best work, in my opinion. Like I think it's her best work yet, and that says a lot because she's a veteran. She's been in the business for a long time. I think Jade Cargill is still the future of this franchise. I don't think she's arrived yet, but like I think just with her looks, and if she is as committed to wrestling as other people are committed to being the star of their sport, like she could be the future. And I think that Bianca Belair is the women's division's Jesus. I mean, she literally, don't mess with her. Like, I think she is the biggest star in the women's division, like hands down. It's insane. She'll go away and then come back, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's the best at this. I think she is the women's division Jesus. That's what I think. Don't question it.
I freaking love it, dude. And she makes her own wardrobe. She makes her own costumes. Which
Didn't know that. There you go.
Dude.
Another thing.
The Wyatt Six is back. I'm very nervous that it's going to be a lot of excitement like it was last time, with some really cool, interesting ways to get us into it. And then it's going to be a big, and now what? I'm hoping now that they have Alexa Bliss, and she's kind of like flirting around that gravitational pull, that they can make something work and kind of figure out story-wise where they're going to be. But I get more nervous about it than you do. You really enjoy it. They look unstoppable as far as like what they're doing to people in the ring. Like they're killing everybody. But do you see tag team championships as a good thing for them, or do they even? I don't even think they need them. Do they? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we've talked about this before, where it's like anybody who lives in that element of like paranormal or supernatural or more Halloween wrestlers, whether it's Kane or Undertaker or the Brood, the Boogeyman or the Wyatt Six or any of like the Bludgeon Brothers, whoever it is, it's like they never get belts. It's always like, oh, that's a fun enough thing on its own. We don't need to put them in the picture, which is so unfair. They're still wrestlers. They're still like want to go for the championship. It's almost like, like when if you booked 2 movies and then you really wanted a like Tarantino film or something, and your agent's like, oh, don't worry about Freddie. He's got 2 movies already. Let's give some of our other clients something. It's like, no, help Freddie. Still, he's a star. Bring him the script. Like, let him read for it.
Yes,
and I
please.
feel like I feel like that's what they think, is that like, oh, well, those guys, they're doing their own thing. It's really good. We don't need to worry about, making them compete for a strap, is what it feels like, at least. So I think that would be good. Like, let those guys stick out in the tag division, maybe build some interest. I mean, the tag divisions, I like it, but I don't think it's the most popular part of wrestling. So
they
I
got
think
good champions right now, for sure.
It's not like the top of the stories that everybody talks about, week to week. So I think it could only be good, and I really love them. I really hope that it sticks also. They're really dragging their feet. Wrestling is so slow on the pull on so many different things. Like, and Alexa Bliss joining the Wyatt Six is taking too long, in my opinion. If you're going to do it, do it.
I agree.
That's how I feel.
No, I agree. All right, dude. The main event promo. Not a match. Oh. But it was Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, and they call out Cena. And Cena talks some shit, calls them copies, which in the case of Jey Uso is actually accurate because he's a twin. But they didn't like.
Easy. I am a copy.
When he said that, I was like, well, yeah. But that's not a cool thing to say, bro. And then he brings out Logan Paul, and they have a big old fight. Logan Paul's still developing his skills on the microphone, and he's developing his skills with crowd work, getting booed and not letting it bother him, or intentionally letting it bother him. Like he's still developing as far as that goes. But all the fight stuff looked fantastic. It looked like they were getting in a real friggin' fight, and I love that. And then we get a match out of it that a lot of people aren't vibing with. But I would say, what else could it be? Like, he can't have just a title match every pay-per-view. You got to mix it up a little bit, or eventually he has to. I don't know. I'm kind of on board with this. I want to see Logan Paul get in there with Cody Rhodes and have an awesome friggin' match. I think the two of them, when they get in there together, will be really good. Same with Jay. And I know not everyone's loving the John Cena story, but I think he's doing great with it. He's completely committed. He's been able to evolve as the crowd kind of like works him and then loves him and works him and loves him. And his post-media scrums, which I think are usually stupid, I find him really interesting, his takes on all this. And I think he's doing a really awesome job. But I feel like you feel the exact opposite that I do.
I don't disagree with you. I think that I wish Cena would use this last run, his like the last time is now. I wish he would use this chapter, since he's a bad guy, to really really shoot on guys, like use it as a real thing. I wish that he would use it as being like, I'm going to bitch about everything that I had to deal with in this company. And in that way, he could use it as a way to shape the way we view wrestling. I think he could really do that. He could be like, you guys don't want to see real good guys win. And you guys don't want, like, he should really try to like shape the way wrestlers.
I like
you
that.
boo. You root for guys who do terrible things just because they look cool. Like, I wish John Cena would defend being a face as a heel and say that that's why he's being a heel, is that, like, you know what, you guys, you know, like there's an opportunity there that I wish that he would get to. And he kind of keeps going to like the lowest common denominator of like, you guys wish you were as famous as me, or you guys wish you had my money. And that's like such a classic heel trope, is to be like, you're poor and I'm rich, or you're, you know, a loser and I'm not. I do want to say that Logan Paul gets the quote of the month. Oh my God. He points to Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes and says, these two Nepo babies were born on third and thought they hit a triple.
Yeah, man. That's
Whoever
an old
wrote that?
No, that's an old school quote from the governor of Texas talking about George Bush Jr. Yeah, and he took that quote from her. It's a great quote. I don't know who wrote it for that governor, but whoever wrote it originally for that lady deserves all the credit because they crushed that quote.
Amazing. And I know, because I'm very bad. Everyone listening knows that I'm terrible at knowing what is real and what is fake. But Cody and Jey Uso both kind of like smirked a little bit. Like, after
they sold for him. They sold for him for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was great.
And he pointed to himself and said, self-made. And then he pointed to John Cena and said, self-made. And it was like, just in that, 10 seconds or however long it took him to deliver that line, I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm like,
That's
that made
great.
me root for those guys. So I loved that segment. And yeah, Logan's a little clunky on the mic, but he's been
He'll
doing
get there.
How long's he been in? A couple of years? I mean, he's
Yeah,
barely
dude,
been in.
you gotta give him time. Bianca wasn't dead money on the, or I mean, when I say dead money, I mean like spot on. She wasn't spot on when she first started, man. It takes time for people to develop. They just throw you out there, bro. They just say, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
We're the only show in town.
You're
We'll
the
be
guy
on forever. And so you learn on the fly, man. You got to just be patient with them. And as long as you're seeing growth and development, just know that as long as they stay healthy, that's their time's going to come, and it's all going to kind of balance out eventually. So long as, these guys and gals are able to stay healthy. Gals. I like saying gals instead of gals. All right. We don't have much time left. So quickly on AEW. Jeff, I know you love Hangman Adam Page. I know you love that buckshot lariat. This one is a far way away. People forget, so we can make a prediction. Jon Moxley, I said a long time ago, is not losing the belt for a very, very, very long time. He can talk. He can wrestle. He looks awesome. He's edgy as fuck, man. Like the edgiest dude out there without being a full-on like monster, basically. But I think it's time. And I think everyone's ready. And if I was making a pick and people were trusting me with their hard-earned money, I would say bet big on Hangman Adam Page. What say you, since you love him so much? Are you going to jump off the bandwagon?
I think he is the guy over there. I used to be a big Kenny Omega guy. Now I'm a Hangman Adam Page guy. I still like Kenny Omega too.
Yeah, you do.
But I've put most of my fandom into Hangman. I would love that. But I also love the Mox run. I love what Moxley's doing. Moxley's doing this I'm pissed off, I'm over it kind of thing. But other than that, I do think it's Hangman Adam Page's chapter, and that's what I'm hoping that he does get it.
It's like a culture clash, right? It's like Moxley's wanting to change the culture of AEW to be as hardcore as it can be without getting taken off television. And Page is like, nah, man, this is for the people. It's not about you. It's about what they want, not what you want. And so it'll be cool to see who wins. But I think Hangman Page is going to. All right, you guys, we ask you almost every week to write us reviews, hit us up, and we'll shout you out on the air. I got one from DJ Vanilla Thunder. And that's Thunder with an A, the way they say it in Australia. Thunder. All right, here we go. First things first, Jeff Dye is the biggest heel in wrestling. I said it. That man has wild takes. Jay isn't over? But my man Freddie gets it. Now, see, this guy knows what's up. You won't find better insights anywhere else. You want to feel like you're just hanging out with a couple friends chatting wrestling? This is the podcast for you. Love you both. Keep it up. The biggest heel in podcast wrestling?
Yeah,
Jeff
come
Dye?
on. What is he talking about? I'm trying to get along with everybody. I'm trying to do my best. Also, Jay isn't over. You guys all are being sold. No.
Crazy.
Ooh, we can do this. Woo, that must
You
mean
just
we
did
love
it.
him.
You just did it.
That must mean I love all the wrestlers.
You do.
Doing the chant because they want you to do the chant doesn't make you over.
Let me present that to the judges. Judges, do you agree or disagree with what Jeff's... Oh, before I even finished, it's a big disagree.
Yeah, everyone thinks he's over.
That was crazy fast. I've never seen it that quick. All right, that's it for today's episode of Wrestling with Freddie. You guys can love us. You guys can hate us. Just listen and shout us out and know that we love wrestling too. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to make some predictions on Money in the Bank. On behalf of Jeff Dye, I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. Tell him, Jeff, say peace.
We out.